So I want to invite three wonderful people to the stage to talk a little bit about their technologies. Please give our panel a round of applause as they make their way to the stage. Andrew Logan, Georgie Pinn and Bruce Dell are going to come and join me here. Come on, help me, guys. This is our panel. If you want to ask a question, why don't you quickly scan this QR code now? If you've used Slido before, just type a question and they'll feed through to me and I'll throw them in at any stage. I'm not going to chat for a while and then go to a designated Q&A at the end. Anytime a question comes up, if it's relevant for the discussion, I'll zip to it then. But hop onto Slido, and any questions you want to ask these impressive people about their technologies, you can ask. But you're all thinking, well, Adam, we don't know what their technologies are. You're not really helping here. So let's dispense with that right away. Andrew Logan is the co-founder and head of BoostAR. You might have seen him outside, a company that created an online platform that brings images to life, working with augmented reality, featured across many different industries, helping them bring a new dimension to the experience. Give Andrew a big round of applause. How you going, Andrew?
Well, thank you. Hello?
Yep, hold that right up on your chin, big guy. Sitting alongside Andrew, well, we've got in the Bruce Dell is a CEO of Axion Holographics. Oh, okay, you want to go to that? Let's is that your one, Andrew? That Bruce's? It is, okay. There we go. So this is Bruce's video. Let's just play this on loop. Bruce is the CEO of Axion Holographics, recent winners of gold at the Edison Awards, Time Magazine's Best Inventions of 2023, groundbreakers in the field of holograms. Bruce, tell us a little bit about Axion Holographics. What are we seeing here? We'll just loop it around for as long as you want to chat. What's your elevator pitch for who you guys are?
Hello. So I'm from Axion Holographics. We're a Brisbane-based company. Originally, we were building the hologram devices for groups like Lockheed Martin, Honeywell, Airbus, Bentley, things like that. We won the award for best hologram technology in the world recently, so it's nice to be able to say that for a little while until someone else wins the award next year.
Say it again. Just say it one more time so people get this.
At the moment, so the Edison Award, the previous winners were Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. So no Australian company's gone that high before.
There you go. Hello.
So we make...
They're very distinguished and, in one case, slightly weird footprints to be following it. Congratulations, mate.
So we built a hologram zoo in Cannon Hill. And originally it was supposed to be a little bit quiet. We were basically making a zoo where all the animals were made out of laser light. And then the media got a hold of it, and it ended up with 106 articles in 10 days, and then Time Magazine coming out and them giving it the award for best entertainment technology in the world. In the last 4 months, 13 hologram zoos have sold around the world. So that's a very good little beginning for what looks like to be a major export. So what you're seeing here is at Cannon Hill, if you want to come out and visit. And as I said, these are opening up all over the world very, very rapidly, 3 already in China.
So, sorry, the 13 zoos, you've made those 13?
We've been selling it like a franchise model.
Yeah.
And so people have been buying. In fact, we're so overrun with people wanting to buy and open hologram zoos. They're saying this is a little bit different to bowling or computer game arcades or trampoline centers when you've got giant 30-meter whales and things like that floating through the air. But yeah. Anyway, I've taken up too much time.
Fantastic. No, I love it. Okay, let's go to the next prompting video, and I will then do the introduction determined on who that is. Who's our next prompting video here? Play the video at the back of the room. That looks a little bit more like you, Andrew. Yes, okay. So, Andrew, tell us about BoostAR.
Okay, so BoostAR, we've created a SaaS platform where you can create your own augmented reality experiences. The way it works is you upload a JPEG image of where you want the AR to play. You upload a video, save it, download your QR code, and you're live with augmented reality. So anything that's printed, be it a poster or a flyer or a pull-up banner, can now be a video or an interactive experience.
I saw there the headline that said AR safety video. That was the sort of thing I potentially flagged. So, sorry, how is the AR safety video created? And then what's that experience like for me as a user?
Okay, so there's a series of different modules that you would need to complete to become competent to ride a jet ski. So you can watch each of these videos on the paper. You don't have to be present in a classroom. You can do it at home. Once you've watched them, we can add Q&A questions to the back of it. So multiple choice questions or whatever you want. And once people are competent, then they can go and have their experience.
Fantastic stuff. Great. Okay. We'll hear a little bit more about BoostAR in a couple of seconds. And this brings us to the amazing Georgie Pinn, who's created an interactive creative technologist you are with large-scale experiences to wash over your senses. What's the organisation and what are we looking at here, Georgie?
Yeah, we're a collective group of creators, and we make immersive, multi-sensory experiences in real space. And they entertain, they empower, and they educate people. Bringing the audience in, they're user-driven experiences. 85% of millennials talk about they prefer to have an experience than an object. And so this is a very powerful space, getting people off devices and into real space, creating interactive storytelling, immersive experiences where people can become part of it and drive the creative elements in real time.
So how does it work? What's a sort of real-world event or festival that you would augment with this sort of stuff, and how would that improve my experience as a punter at that event?
Well, we create a world, so we're very much focused on content. Content is everything. We design these beautiful worlds which draw people in, and once they're in there, they can trigger animation and sound either by touch or by moving within that space. So we transform spaces with projection mapping or giant touch screen LED walls. And then also sometimes the audience can capture their own face. For example, we did a 7-metre head that was in South Bank for the World Science Festival. And the audience could come and capture their face and put it on that head and see it and then animate with it by pushing sliders around. So appealing to little kids and also nonners that have no tech experience, very inclusive experiences.
Fantastic. What's the sort of budget range for the basic functional small thing I might like to do, right up to if I just said knock yourselves out and go completely crazy? What's the vague sort of investment people are making in creating an experience from the most basic to the fully over the top?
Well, it's very scalable. If you're looking at the tourism industry, we could start with simply promoting a holiday that a travel agent is trying to sell in a way that you've got an interactive screen in a retail window. And as you walk past it, you see yourself in that space and you see yourself lying on the beach or walking. So that really brings the audience in, and then they start doing selfies, and then that's really great marketing for that company. So it's a lower grade. So that could be, sort of 20 grand, 15, 20 grand. And then you move up and we can augment an experience that's already really powerful. So projection map onto buildings and add to a place like a church that they're going to see, but then you projection map this other narrative at night time and it augments that experience.
I've seen sometimes they have the Vivid Light Festival in Sydney, and I've seen when people augment striking visual images over natural
architecture.
Yeah, classical architecture, or on the Opera House, and something that's not just a flat wall.
Yes.
And when I saw one projected onto the main quad at the University of Sydney that had been tailored literally to the individual nooks and crannies of windows and
you can make it disappear and reform.
Incredible stuff.
And then it could be also what we do could be the actual tourism product that people could actually travel to see this wonderful big large scale piece.
Fantastic. Let me put the tech people through their paces. Go back and roll the Axion holograph one again if you could, the first of the 3 videos we had preset there. So a hologram. Bruce, what is a hologram, and how do you create, like those penguins there, for example? What is a hologram, and what's the technology underpinning this?
A hologram is a Greek word. It means whole picture. We're a little bit, in some ways, a little bit mean, like a growly dog growling over its bowl of food when it comes to the word hologram. So when Time magazine gave us the award for best hologram technology or best entertainment technology, we had to share it with Apple, by the way, last year. If you're sharing with Apple, you're probably doing okay. Yeah.
You're very good at dropping it into pretty much every sentence too. I respect that.
So basically, there are a lot of companies that use the word hologram, but they would not fit that definition of the Greek whole picture. So At the moment, for example, there's Michael Jackson singing on stage, or ABBA on stage, or Whitney Houston, all of these sorts of things. In some countries, they're not allowed to call themselves holograms. They basically take a silk curtain, and just like you would take a projector and put it on a wall and watch a movie, they put the projector on the silk curtain. It's actually a common trick even young people use in America to make ghosts at Halloween. So a lot of people are doing what they're calling a hologram, but that is very different to a real hologram. A real hologram means if I have like a box and the letter A is on the front, I can move around the side and see the letter B. I can move around this side and see the letter C. It looks like a real floating thing in the air that you can move around and see. Whereas if you've got a silk curtain, you have to keep people far away, because if they were up close, they'd go, wait a minute, this isn't a hologram.
So when I'm watching the ABBA concert, if I can't go side on and see a side view or look behind and see the back image of that person, whereas when these birds are flying over people's heads, they're getting the real sort of image passing over their shoulder, looping around and going off somewhere else.
Yeah, so these things come
glasses?
out.
Do you always need the glasses?
So let's talk about glasses. If you want to make something smaller than the size of a shoebox, there are ways to do it without glasses. Perhaps some of you have seen the Nintendo Game Boy that was 3D. So that sort of technology works if it's between your left and right eye. And so if you've got something small, you're able to do it without needing glasses, okay? But if you want to have something big, when we see things like Princess Leia, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, we think of some little device that's making an object out of light. Now, light isn't so cooperative. It doesn't stay still as little atoms. It moves very fast, 8 minutes from the sun to reach us. So the idea of a hologram like you see in sci-fi, where light is going to actually just float in the air, hold on, and just stay there, is probably never going to happen. So as much as people think, technology is great, surely we'll be rid of glasses soon, glasses are here to stay until we're at the point where we've got little drones that are so small and each one's got a light bulb on and they can form an object. But by that stage, they can probably send them to the city, put them in everyone's ears, snip a nerve and kill you. So better that we don't
that took a turn. Okay, yeah.
Pretty much better we don't get too quickly to micro drone holograms.
Okay.
They could be used in terrible ways.
Okay. Let's pivot. Andrew, where did the idea come from? Because now that I see that working, it makes tremendous sense. Where were you or someone else who first had the idea to take us down this path?
Okay, so I also own a specialised graphic design company, and I started tinkering with augmented reality back around the start of COVID. And the one thing that stood out to me was how expensive it was to be able to do anything in AR. And I just felt there had to be a better way. So I collaborated with a few of my colleagues, and we built an intuitive platform that takes all the development out of AR for you. So it becomes a lot more cost effective, and we've really focused on being more of a practical use for AR with your businesses. So customer engagement, marketing, safety training, it can all be used for that benefit.
How long ago did the first model of this, did you create it?
2020 we started.
Okay.
And it took us 2 years of development to launch in 2022.
Okay, so the AR we're talking about now in 2024 compared to 2020, like would you look at the old 2020 AR and have a good giggle now, or are we pretty much at perfect AR? Is AR going to just keep
It's
evolving?
always evolving. It's always evolving. As technology gets better, we can get better at what we do.
What are the main strength points of doing an AR version of a safety induction or experience? Where do you put the real strong points of that experience? What are the real selling points for you? It's
got to be memorable, and it's got to be engaging and informative, really. They're the three biggest things for it to be successful.
And that comes down to the person who's creating the content at their end. Do you also give advice on how to create that sort of stuff? Are there ones they can look at online and go, oh, okay, this and that? Because a lot of people wouldn't have the natural sort of cinematographic or whatever smarts to create a compelling working piece.
Yeah, so we offer the ability for you to self-service on our portal, or we can help you through the entire process from concept, strategy, through to completion.
Fantastic. What about yourself, Georgie? Did you guys, did you see individual aspects, because you're bringing together multiple sort of technologies and experiences. What got you to that end point? Did you have an experience in one of the sort of tech backgrounds yourself, and then you went broader? What brought you on the experience to sort of bring together multiple technologies in a sort of suite?
Well, I guess it's more about making the experience, designing an experience that's meaningful. You can have all the tech in the world, but if you're not a good storyteller and you're not going to move people emotionally, and you want to kind of create experiences that generate community engagement and connection, and give people creative agency. So I think augmented reality is a wonderful medium. I love it because you can add this layer of imagination, and for some people that don't have much imagination from a creative point of view, you can add a layer of magic to reality. And when you put down the phone, you're actually still thinking about that thing that was there before. So it stimulates imagination for young kids. I work a lot with young kids as well, getting them to tell stories through immersive technology. And then virtual reality is a really great medium also for the tourism industry, for people that have disabilities, that can't travel, people that are shy, or people that are afraid to get on a plane. You can go and document now, experiences with 360 cameras and a whole range of tech, photogrammetry, and then give that person that opportunity to travel and fly and see things through different people's eyes. And that's what we do at Interactor. We're all about generating empathy, allowing people to shapeshift and see through other people's eyes through immersive tech.
When you create an experience, do you find that you're also providing a lot of the cinematic and artistic guidance, or is the client themselves often feeding back to you? What's the sort of balance? Depends client to client?
It depends client to client. We're a collective made of animators, developers, script writers, actors, a whole range. So it's a one-stop shop in some ways that, the client can go, I've just got this simple thing that I want, can you do it? Or they might have a script that they want us to augment. For example, we're working with the Aboriginal elder of Australia, David Hudson, and he has a story, a theatre production, that we're turning into a holographic mixed reality production. And so he has a full script that we get to augment and bring to life.
Excellent.
It's really exciting.
Got a couple of great audience questions coming through already. Let's tick them off there and keep coming to us over Slido. If there's anything you want to ask of our panellists, they can either be directed to an individual or to the panel as a whole, as you'll see here. Virtual zoos, do you also provide information about conservation status, endangered species? I presume it can be an educational as much as just an exciting experiential piece, and depending on which countries you're going around the world, boutiqued and tailored for that exact environment. Is that part of what people are using this for?
So it's very, very educational. When they go along, they're getting a commentary, they're learning all the way. It's very important to me. I feel like the issue of invasive species is one that probably needs a little bit more attention. So in Australia, there's places where forests are now totally silent because of red ants going in, and even the birds can't land to lay their eggs anymore. All over the world, whether it be Galapagos Islands, where goats are eating all the grass and the big turtles don't have any grass anymore. I feel that this is just as important as carbon or anything else and doesn't often get attention. So having people worldwide learn more about animals, care more about animals, and then bringing to attention. It's also, I think, is a little bit of people saying, oh, well, there's nothing we can do, let's ignore it. But New Zealand was able to, on quite a few of their islands, capture every single rat until there was no rats left. And they've shown we can win the battle of invasive species if we care enough and if we bring it enough to the sort of to the front of everyone to understand. So I'm trying to make the next generation, the TikTok generation, which are a bit alarming when you see a child go, ooh, 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 and just keep scrolling and they've only got a quick attention span. You need to have something super exciting all the time. So when you go to Hologram Zoo, it's just probably the most exciting 45 minutes of next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing, as well as a big educational piece that hopefully makes another generation of children that care more about the animals. I don't want to say instead of just the carbon's important, but there are also other environmental issues which I feel are of equal importance.
And just confirming, #1 in the world, yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. How hard has it been, someone asked, to develop the technology with the existing talent in Australia? did you have to use global talent to drive your offering? I see you nodding there. I'll start with you, Andrew, then I'll go to Georginna. What's your experience with Aussie talent?
We've had a mixed experience. We started off with an overseas developer, and we had a very bad experience. They promised a lot, but the delivery wasn't there, and we got a product that we weren't really happy with. So we pivoted to an Australian agency, and they were fantastic. They delivered exactly what we wanted. They took the time to work with us. It was more personable, and yeah, we built a great product.
And this is part of the challenge, isn't it? When you want to throw down and innovate and get out in front of other people, there's a bit of a risk there because there's no guarantee when you start the project is ever going to actualise. Was there a period dealing with the overseas person where you thought, we might just be stuffed here, this just might not work at all?
Absolutely, yeah. We blew our entire budget on an app that really didn't deliver. So we pretty much had to scrap that, never used it, and we've pivoted to an entire new product that we developed with the help of this Australian-based agency.
This is a really important part of this journey because we're all lucky to come along now and look at this and go, wow, #1 in the world, and look at this and look at that. It can be a hard slog to get there. What about yourself, Georginna? Did you find all the sufficient talent locally?
All in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been driving a lot of the tech. I'm a coder as well. So, you know, Brisbane is incredible. We've got, you know, leaders in our field here, you know, internationally award-winning people here, right here. It's sometimes good to go overseas to showcase what you have because the budgets, like in Qatar, we were there this year and, you know, they had a 40-metre interactive floor. I mean, that costs a lot of money. You don't get access to that technology, but the talent is here. The talent is here, definitely.
Here's a question. If Georginna and Bruce were to have a collaborative love child project, let's say the upcoming Brisbane Olympics, what would it be? That's a question I don't expect you were planning to be asked. When you think of something like the Brisbane Olympics, or like a massive event like that brings people from around the world, off the top of your head, what are the sort of how would you enhance an experience like that?
Well, I think it's really important to celebrate Indigenous culture. So we were just speaking briefly in the back room about that if you could make holographic Dreamtime storytelling, because, you know, the magic, you can illustrate the magic as a holographic experience, and then maybe combine that with some kind of AI so that you can even ask that holographic elder questions that you might be too scared to ask about Aboriginal culture. I think for the Olympics, that would be an incredible thing for outsiders to come into and learn about Indigenous culture.
Bruce, on the topic of love children, you've got these 9 zoos around the world. Apart from your
13.
13, sorry, 3 in China. Apart from your one here in Canada, do you have a favourite? Is there one you've looked at and gone, wow, that's amazing what they've done?
They're all in the process of being manufactured and open. So China moved a bit quicker. So 3 are already open in China. They put some live animals in little cages on the side. I went, oh, I don't know if that's not such a good idea. But yeah. I mean, little bit by little bit, they'll all be coming up. But at the rate we're going, we're going to be opening like 1 a week from here onwards. So I think we're looking at a major new form of tourism coming up.
This is like an industry. This is an industry that's going to roll out around the world.
Yes.
What's the level of technical skill needed by the people at their end to construct this realistically? Do they need a pretty sharp, talented tech team, or do you make it very sort of
we make
low code?
Super simple. A lot of the people who are getting into this are getting out of restaurants. They're saying in restaurants, I don't know how many staff I need to have. Food goes out of date. I don't know how much to order. I'd much rather move across to selling colourful electricity. And then
I'm shutting down my restaurant. I'm going to open a virtual holographic zoo.
Yes. We do 84 people now. When we actually did one in Sydney, in the Sydney Museum was our first trial. 25,000 people in 42 days. Made $550,000. If you say to people, do you want to go do hologram dinosaurs or hologram Christmas or just hologram anything, and then you show them these sorts of videos. We also have a 29% return rate. So on the little kiosk screen, have you been here before? 29% of people. We bring out a new show every 3 months. So everyone seems to be coming back for each one. So it looks like it's got all the right ingredients for something major coming out of Queensland for the rest of the world.
Typical ideal client, like a sort of 10 to 12-year-old kid, or is there one demographic? I mean, everyone loves it, but is there one demographic that this really hits with?
We're getting a lot of very old people. Even the nursing homes are finding it difficult to find things. See, they have to actually take the people out on excursions. That's actually part of what happens in Australia. You have to offer to the old people, do you want to leave once every 2 weeks? And Hologram Zoo, you're walking around slowly with all the animals and things, and they're all reporting we love it. So we're getting a lot of, as well as all the normal audience, we're getting a lot of nursing homes, a lot of the very elderly, a lot of people from 80 to 100.
Fantastic. There's a couple of questions here that touch on a similar theme about how do we best combine this cutting-edge technology with what traditional tourism was of experiencing the real world. One says our competitive advantage is nature and natural encounters. How do we use immersive tech without taking away from why people would travel to Queensland? And another similar question that's vanished off the screen because we can only show 4 here, but was a lot of people go on holiday to digitally detox. How do you balance the amount of tech you infuse into a holiday experience? Either of those issues, tech versus the natural world or digital detox, throw it open to the panel, kick it around for me for a while. I see you nodding. Andrew, what are your thoughts? I'll start with you.
Well, with our product, it's not about recreating the experience. It's about giving people a taste of it and getting them excited to do it. So you've got a press ad in a newspaper. It looks great. The price looks good. But if you can scan a QR code and point your phone at it and it shows you video footage of what you're actually going to do, it's probably going to entice you more to go, let's go do it.
And you might also have someone who's only got 3 days and there's 20 things they could choose to do. Do you often get people going, okay, let's check them all out virtually, bang, let's do that one, so you can sort of choose your own adventure, structuring your own boutique experience?
You could, but it's more about giving your customers an idea of your experience and giving them a taste before they book.
Yeah.
So it's engaging that person and encouraging them to book. That's the way we would do it.
Georginna?
I was also going to say, but with that AR, you can use AR as a wayfinding tech, or to add a layer of education and information. You're in that space, you're looking at perhaps whales, and it's telling you, this is happening and that's happening. So it's live tracking, and it's giving you a deeper, more meaningful experience and education as well. Also when people are driving their own journey with this tech, user-driven tech, the information that you're learning resonates on a deeper level because you're doing it at your own pace. It's multi-sensory, and the information sticks.
Mm-hmm. So. Andrew?
And you're only limited to your own creativity. So we can create anything you want to create, or it can be as simple as having a video library that you can't afford to put to TV or whatever. You can then double barrel it into your printed advertising.
One question here says, Queensland has a large remote area with no or very limited mobile signal, internet access, etc. Are any of your technologies hampered if you're in an area with less, digital service than other parts?
Yeah, so we're WebAR based, so we are needing the internet to work with it, but we also are developing an app for that exact reason. One of our clients is Rio Tinto. They have mines that don't have Wi-Fi. So for that reason, we're developing that.
And similarly, if I'm going to have a tourism experience in the middle of nowhere, I can, from my comfy house in Sydney, do all the safety training first or whatever, and then go to that place, can't I, obviously?
That's correct. Yeah.
Georginna, your thoughts on access and digital service?
For me, you have to have power. That's the main thing. Without electricity, you can't do anything. We don't really rely on internet in the same way because we're not focused on AR, but that's amazing. If you can crack that one, you're onto something. That's amazing.
Yeah, the beauty of the app is there's no QR code required because it all is built into the app. So when you download the app, you just point it at anything and it will interact with it straight away.
Question here, when your event demographic is of the less tech-savvy people, what's the best entry-level interactive visitor experience recommendation you can make? So have you guys seen any other entry-level interactive visitor experiences? Well, your one in particular, Bruce, you don't need any sort of technical skill at the user end?
We had a big decision that we had to make a little while ago. which was people like interactive things, but not everybody. And so we had the big question, is Hologram Zoo to be a little bit more like a game? Do you have buttons? Do you have controllers? Things like this. And we actually decided, no, we should put all of that aside. We'll be doing Hologram Arcade in about 2 years from now. But we felt like there was a very large section of society where the minute they see a joystick or a button, they go, that's for boys, that's for little boys, that's not for me, that's a game now. Hologram Zoo is very interesting. I've many times seen groups of women, and I've gone up to talk to them. They say, yeah, we left the children at home. This is walking through hologram tunnels, seeing Africa all around you, seeing waterfalls and all this sort of stuff. It's so lovely. So we've tried to keep away from anything but walk around with your own 2 feet like it is a real zoo. So no touch panels, no any of that sort of stuff. Try and be a little bit more natural, if I can say that, in terms of that you don't have to have special knowledge in your head.
It depends what your UI is, though. It depends what your user interface is. I mean, you can have buttons and joysticks, but we use motion capture so people can just walk through a space and they're adapting and generating and making real-time animations. So
there's a thing out there.
Yeah,
you've got that.
Come and see me afterwards if you want to play with it.
Explain to people in advance that, because you were showing me that during the break, and it's amazing. You've got a little camera that captures me, and then.
Yeah, so we've got several different examples that we pulled together for this showcase, but one is coral animation that we've used data of coral sporing and created this generative animation. And as you walk up closer to the screen, you actually are changing the dynamics and the animation in real time. And then we've got some butterflies in a forest that you can move around with your hands in real time, because the nature and the wildlife here in Australia is incredible. We have so many species of butterflies, and our insects are renowned around the world for being huge and scary. So it's kind of a way to augment what's there and get people excited and let them have a bit of fun, a bit of creative agency.
Got a question here from the audience. How can people with disabilities access technology for tourism experiences free of charge or very affordable without having to pay expensive subscriptions for apps and platforms and things like that? Any observations on that?
That's really down to maybe some government support for that as well, I think. They are very expensive, VR headsets, but you can use Cardboard Google if you really, that's really affordable, $10, and you download it and you cut out your cardboard and you stick it on your phone and you can have a VR experience.
What's your price point, Bruce, for someone to go and experience a holographic zoo, roughly? It's up to the individuals, but what sort of money are people paying to go to that zoo?
Big dollars. So the way we've done it is we wanted to open up for everyone. So $34.50 in the morning till 2 o'clock, then from 2 till 6, $27.50, and then the evenings, $19.50. And what we see is the grandparents who say, I've got lots of money, I don't mind. They come in the mornings when it's busy, and then the people who are very price conscious, they come in the evenings at $19.50. I think it's a wonderful way of doing it.
And what's the $19.50? How long's the experience?
So they're there for about 45 minutes, but then we say, so we have dinosaurs as well. And we made dinosaurs as like an upgrade. We realized everyone wanted to do dinosaurs. So we said, well, you can do Africa, whatever the current show is. So we do a different show every 3 months. But you can pay $17.50 more and do dinosaurs. And 49% of people are doing that dinosaur upgrade as well. So they're there for about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay. How can small regional businesses utilise this innovative technology to drive visitation and engagement? In your case, Andrew, you'd have clients, I presume, in massive capital cities, rural and regional areas, all over the place. Is there a typical client who uses your sort of technology, or is it applying across an incredible range of spaces and places?
Ours is really industry agnostic. It works for any industry. What works for tourism can work for finance, can work for mining. It's pretty versatile in that regard.
From all of you each, give the audience, we're close to running out of time here, not necessarily your favourite, but give us an example of where you've experienced your technology. It might be a particular animal you've holographed or someone has used it that's really resonated with you and you thought, wow, yeah, this is I'm just excited my technology has been involved in this space or made that sort of difference. Who's a client you've had that you look back fondly on the experience?
We've done a lot of work with Rio Tinto. We've recently created it's like a hologram, it's a 3D object in AR, so they're using it at their Dusseldorf Aluminium Expo booth, where you can scan the QR code and drop a transparent Tesla. Then it shows all of the elements that they mine that goes into that car. So people can interact with it at the booth, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Have you ever had the goggles on yourself and just been blown away by an image that's been captured?
We would never call them goggles. We like to make a big distinction between us and VR.
My apologies.
So VR is screens over your eyes. And remember, this is like a little battle. So we're the other side. You don't have to take everything we say as truth. But from our biased direction, Microsoft actually shut down all VR and all augmented reality back in February. You can check that. Sent all 10,000 workers home. 80% of women say VR or augmented reality gives them headaches and they will not return to it. If you type into Google today, what percentage VR sickness, you'll get 40 to 70%. So VR has not managed to become mainstream. It might be a niche thing forever. It might totally disappear. Maybe it will come back. Maybe it'll get better. But right now, it's a bit of a patient on a hospital bed. That's a cruel thing to say. Remember, we are the opposition. We're holograms. They're VR.
I'm going to give you a right reply, Andrew. Don't worry about that.
Screens over your eyes. Augmented reality is very different. Andrew's isn't goggles. Andrew's is phones. So a little bit different. We use these terms very loosely. So AR and VR and things like that. In our particular case, to me, I've seen a lot of people go into the hologram tunnel and see a 30-meter whale go by. And when this has got real depth, you're actually seeing the real thing there. And I mean, SeaWorld doesn't have a tank that big. And it amazes me that children are very noisy little creatures. But as soon as the whale comes along, they all go into a great reverent silence and bow their little heads, that they've never seen anything like this. I saw one of them go quiet as the big whale went by, and they were going, oh, with their eyes very wide, and they ceased to blink. And then when they come out, I remember a little boy saying to his father, "Daddy, this is the happiest day of my life." And I realized we've really done something good here.
Yeah, you'll take that. That's fantastic. Georgie, tell us an experience of your technology where you've seen it deployed, your experience, and just gone, yeah, wow. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, I took a work called Echo around the world, collecting stories, real stories from real people. And the experience is you go into a booth and you listen to a story and then it becomes you. So using high-end motion capture and storytelling, people feel empathy. They feel like they've stepped into the shoes of another person. I took that and put it about empathy with nature. And so what happened was when people came to the South to the science festival, I built a giant 7-meter geometric face and projected those stories onto the face. So the audience would come up and listen to these stories, this giant head telling these very intimate stories, and I saw them crying and weeping and really moved by this vulnerability, and then they were able to capture their own face and put it on the head and break it up into pixels and animate. I think this was really so powerful to kind of dance in that between empathy and narcissism. You know, people are like, I want my face up there. And then once their face is up there and they're enjoying it, then you hit them with a story and then you see
bawling their eyes out.
Oh my gosh. And then seeing the little kids just absolutely loving, smashing their face into pixels in real time. So
what a great session this is. Like 3 technologists, 3 brave entrepreneurs, and just 3 wonderful ambassadors for Queensland tourism. They'll be around for the rest of the day if you want to ask them a little bit more. Please thank Andrew Logan, Georgie Pinn, Bruce Dell. Thank you so much, guys. Wonderful stuff.